Hey there. I am super excited to get to share one of my favorite subjects with you today. This is my second masterclass since I founded Cookies Please University, and I'm just really loving to get to share all this information with you guys. My mission is to create clarity for creative minds in a confusing world, and I'm thrilled to discuss what I believe to be an absolute key issue to creating a lasting business. No matter if you're a one-woman show or if you have 14 employees like the amazing Carrie of Sweet Jane's Bake Shop in Gainesville. She's our local claim to fame because she went from being an amazing home baker to a wildly successful storefront bakery with an amazing oatmeal cream pie that is to die for. So we are going to go ahead and get started. Today we're talking about why, not what, how to communicate a vision for your bakery that creates a cult following. So if you're wondering if this masterclass applies to you, it might, and it might not. If you're noticing more and more home bakers in your area and you're struggling to find ways to set yourself apart from the crowd, then this class is definitely for you. And if you find yourself struggling to find and keep loyal customers, or if you're struggling to create a cohesive brand, then you're in the right place. If you just started baking, or if you've been baking for 20 years and you want to build a business that makes people willing to drive far and spend lots even when you cost more than the competition, then this is definitely for you. And if you want to create a business that gives you a sense of fulfillment every morning when your feet hit the floor, or afternoon when you don't make it to bed until morning, am I right? Then you definitely belong here. So in the next hour or so, you'll discover how why may be just what you've been searching for. You'll discover how long-term sales methods don't work long-term. How traditional sales methods don't work long-term. You'll learn how successful companies command cult followings repeatedly, consistently, again and again and again, despite hardships, mistakes, and occasionally even failures. And you'll gain practical tips for creating your very own why and how to share it so that your customers buy in. I have any fellow nerds in the house tonight? You may recognize this quote from The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, where a civilization creates a giant computer that they want to answer the answer to life, the universe, and everything. So the computer tells them coming back in 7.5 million years. So the entire civilization comes back in 7.5 million years later, and the computer has the answer, 42. Obviously, they're a little bit unhappy about this answer. And the computer is like, well, if you would have told me the absolute answer, or the question, then the ultimate question, then I would have been able to give you a better answer. So that civilization didn't know the ultimate question to best understand the ultimate answer. The ultimate answer for your bakery might be a solidly booked schedule every week, or happy customers who order for every holiday. It might be a full-time income, or to present at CookieCon, or your favorite cake conference. I don't know what they're called. I only do cookies. A storefront bakery, it might be, that might be your dream, a storefront bakery with 14 employees, or a sense of happiness and fulfillment without the dread that sometimes the company is having to pick up yet another bag of icing at 4 a.m. But what's the ultimate question? The path to getting there can seem about as clear as 42. We look at fabulously successful bakers with a cohesive brand, a well-known name, and loyal customers who sell out everything they offer in under 5 minutes. And we want to know how. How does she do it? How does she do it consistently over time to great success? That's the ultimate question, isn't it? Because when it comes down to it, we basically all have the same products: flour, sugar, butter, eggs. Nothing is that different here than it is in Brazil or in England or in New York. And we all pretty much want the same things: for our customers to be happy, to make a decent income, and to put our stamp on the world somehow. So what exactly are those incredibly successful bakers doing that is making the difference? What's the ultimate baking question? I will tell you right now, the answer is not your product, which we will call our what. We all make the same what. The answer is not improving your what by years of experience or attending expensive classes. Even those are amazing ways to keeping your enthusiasm up and creating a quality product, don't get me wrong. But if nobody is buying your product, it doesn't really matter how awesome it is, right? The answer to creating an impact on yourself, your business, and your customers is why. Why is defined by Simon Sinek as a deep-seated purpose, cause, or belief that is the source of our passion and inspiration. The ultimate question is found in owning your why and being able to communicate it with everyone and everything that your business touches. When your why is clearly communicated, you'll find customers that connect with you in a way they don't even understand, but it will be enough to inspire them to action, and that benefits both them and you. So, a brief introduction for those of you who don't know me. I'm Jennifer Evans, owner of Cookies Please and Cookies Please University. I make gorgeous treats that transform your event into a luxury experience, and I empower home bakers to live their best life through business development. I also drink excessive amounts of coffee from my fancy espresso machine, and I own 17 hens and one tiny rooster. Those of you who attended my last MasterClass may remember that we had 19 hens then. It's a short, happy life around here. I'm married to Will and mom to two amazing girls, one of whom, the small one there, claims to want to work with me in my bakery. Fingers crossed she still feels that way when she's 16. You may be asking, why does she feel like she's an expert at this? My answer would be anybody can be an expert at this. It just takes some time and effort, and I strongly encourage anyone who wants to expand their business to go into education in some way or another. You absolutely do not have to be the be-all, end-all knower of all things to teach classes like this. You just need to be one chapter ahead of your students. If you like to teach, then just do it. Just start somewhere. Offer some kind of class, or teach online, or do YouTube tutorials, or teach at the local college's continuing education program. If you have a passion and a bit more experience than your audience, then you can definitely teach. My experience in baking was largely screwing up for 7 long years, quitting about every 6 months, and working long hours for crap pay. Then I wised up, hired a business coach, and learned better business practices that I want to share with other home bakers. And I know sometimes as we go through information, we say to ourselves, I know all this already, and that may be true. Good for you. You've been doing the research, and that's awesome. My next question would be, have you put it all into practice? Are you implementing those things on a daily basis, meeting your goals, making the breakthroughs, making the money? Did you know that only 8% of people meet their goals? Are you part of the 8%? Sometimes you need to hear the same thing from somebody different, somebody with a why and a background that speaks to you, with results that you'd also like to achieve, because learning new knowledge can be awesome, don't get me wrong, but your life will never change through knowledge. It will only change through action. That means doing the damn things, doing the hard work. So here I am, and here you are making an amazing decision to improve your home bakery. Good for you for being willing to listen to someone else who can help you. I want every home baker in Texas to have the skills necessary to help them reach their goals, no matter what those goals may look like. So let's do this. Step 1 in discovering your why is learning what doesn't work, because focusing on what, the product, breeds stress, not loyalty. If any of you are in the same local groups as I am, you know that there are 1,000,000,002 cookie decorators in Fort Worth alone. Your customers have many choices when it comes to baked goods. In fact, no matter how good you are, chances are there is someone within driving distance of you that is far better. Sorry to break it to you. And even if you've got the newest techniques or have come up with a super cool new product, chances are good that it's going to be forgotten, or someone else will have made it even better in less than 6 months, probably in China. So how do most bakeries keep people buying their products, and really most companies anywhere? Through manipulation. Think about the last big ticket item you bought and kind of think through the sales process that you went through. What sort of advertising were you exposed to as a shop for that product? I'm sure there were price cuts, promotions, maybe a subtle fear of missing out or not having what everyone else has, or maybe aspirations for how amazing your life could be if you only had the newest model. Maybe you saw a new feature and felt like you had to have it. I'd love to hear about that. If you ever want to email me or let me know anything, my email is jennifer@cookiesplease.com, and I love answering questions. But all of these methods of manipulation work. I am not arguing their effectiveness, don't get me wrong, but they have their downsides too. Low pricing and promotions create an addiction to deals for customers and force businesses to continue to drop prices and push more and more product to make up for the loss. And we're not Walmart, right? We don't sell billions of products every day. We just can't afford to do that. And fear, peer pressure, aspirations create a culture of stress for both customers and businesses alike. The pressure to get the best deal and to do all that price comparison and deal comparison makes shopping stressful for the customer. And the pressure to always have a new gimmick or promotion to advertise makes the experience painful for the business. And honestly, novelty and having a new and improved something only lasts until somebody else comes up with something bigger and better. So not long. The deal is, with enough repeated manipulation, you very well may get repeat customers. That's fine. But manipulations do not breed loyalty. These customers will only be with you until the manipulation is not effective anymore. Truly loyal customers will hang with you when you make mistakes, because every business makes mistakes. Nobody's 100% perfect. When you're more expensive than everyone else, and when it's not convenient or even painful for them to continue to do business with you. So if you only want to do business with a customer once, then manipulations are definitely the way to go for you. They're very effective for a one-time purchase. I mean, how often do you have to buy a copy cake? It doesn't really matter if you just go with that business one time, because that's going to be a one-time purchase. But for me, I much prefer a familiar customer who knows my work, they know my process, they don't have to answer the same beginner questions every time, because it's easier to deal with them, right? And our products are luxury goods, and as such are going to be hit hard when the economy takes a dip. But loyal customers will continue to come to you even in hard times. When you lead with what, which is your product, remember, people are forced to use their brains exclusively. They have to compare pricing, special offers, different options, and more. When you lead with why, they go with their gut. That's their heart. And that's where decisions are made that don't always make logical sense, but that always lead to greater satisfaction. So just like when your teachers always told you to pick the first answer that you went with on a multiple choice and not change it, your gut is often right, even if you can't even explain exactly why that's true. But here is my absolute favorite part about focusing on why instead of what. Someone could swoop in, reverse engineer all of your original recipes or steal them. They could take your concepts, your designs, your packaging, everything that you think makes your product unique. They could steal your employees. They could reverse engineer everything you make and start selling it. But you know what? If you started with why instead of what, you can wish them all the best with a smile on your face, if not necessarily in your heart, especially, and continue on your merry way, because your customers are not buying your what. Let me say that one more time for the people in the cheap seats. Your customers are not buying your what. They are buying why you make it. And no one can steal your why. This is not to say that your product isn't important. It's just not what you should be leading with. So if you ever felt like someone was stealing your ideas or contents, you can take it down just a tiny notch. Do not talk about it in your marketing. It just is a bad place to come from as far as your mentality. So I want you to stop worrying about it. And if you see other people worrying about it, I want you to realize that it is just not where we need to come from as far as a place of confidence. So if you feel threatened by fellow bakers, then you're not starting with why. And if you come across people who are feeling threatened by what you're doing, then maybe introduce them to the power of why. There is room for all of us in this world. I do not hold with the scarcity mindset. We do not have competitors. We have rivals who help to show us areas where we need to improve. Simon Sinek says that when you compete against everyone else, no one wants to help you. But when you compete against yourself, everyone wants to help you win. Our why is not to win. What would we be winning? Is Sweet Sugar Belle winning? Well, what about the cookie countess? What could possibly determine something like that? This is the long game. Remember, nobody wins or everybody wins. Basically, there's no winning, okay? Your success is going to look totally different from someone else's. What if our goal was to do a little bit better every day than we did yesterday? What if we forgot about getting more orders than another lady, or having more followers or more income? What would our industry look like then? That's my little soapbox. I'll hop off now. So here's Simon Sinek's version of that statement, which is, of course, where I got it. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. So what do successful companies who lead with why look like in the real world? Let's take a look at 2 companies leading with why and do a little case study to see how they're succeeding. Much of the information I'm sharing with you comes from Simon Sinek. He wrote Start with Why, as well as Find Your Why, several other books. In his opinion, all world-changing businesses and individuals think, act, and communicate similarly, and they share common results. They are world-changing influencers. They have the most amazing, insane, loyal customers and equally loyal employees. Think about the arguments you've gotten into with friends over Android versus iPhones. These are not logical arguments, okay? I just like it better is a terrible way to spend $1,000. But these companies are often more profitable than anyone else in their industry, and they look and act differently than the rest of their field. These businesses don't just have great sales records. They are inspiring people to make lifelong changes just from their presence in the business world. They're creating world movements through the way they do business. They're actually molding people's identity through the purchases they make. It's so crazy when you think about it. People who buy Apple products see themselves differently in their heart of hearts than people who buy Androids. And you certainly think about people who own a Harley, the other company will be discussing differently than you do someone who owns a Honda motorcycle. So let's take a look at these world-changing companies. First up, Apple. Tell me, just kind of think to yourself, whether or not, are you an Apple person? Are you not? I'm always curious about that. Apple didn't invent the computer. They didn't even invent the MP3 player or the cell phone. They don't command the highest market shares. They come in second, actually, to Samsung in cell phones and fourth in computers. And their products often cost more than the competitors' products, a lot more. It could be argued that those products aren't even the best in their industry. Yet people are willing to line up for hours outside their stores to buy a product that will be available to everyone shortly, of which there is no shortage or sale or promotion available. And it certainly wasn't even Steve Jobs' sparkling personality. By all accounts, he was a genius, but not necessarily the most magnetic person you've ever met. So what's the big deal with Apple? Apple is a master at communicating their why. They don't lead with discussions of computer performance, speed, or how amazing their products are. And here's a particularly interesting fact. They don't often compare their products to competitors. Look at these two advertisements. I glanced at Samsung's website real quick, and their language does not look like this. You can see it just kind of comparing themselves to themselves. It's really pretty awesome. They talk a lot of specs, but they don't mention improving upon. So Samsung talks a lot about what they do, just like Apple does, but they do not talk about improving upon past products like Apple does. Apple doesn't focus on beating Samsung. Apple focuses on beating Apple. What they do talk a lot about is why we need their products. They make their customer the center of the story by focusing on a problem they have, presenting a solution, and then offering a product. By focusing on their why, which of course is think different, they've been able to create what's commonly called the cult of Apple. It's basically a cadre of faithful customers and employees who have stuck with the company, even after the death of its visionary, Steve Jobs. Because they lead every advertisement and product line with why, they've been able to branch out past computers and into music players, TVs, where other companies trying to do the same have failed because they are known as computer companies. They're leading with their what? Instead of being a company that thinks different. They've been able to stay current and even at the forefront of new technology despite being founded over 40 years ago. No matter what Apple offers, we know why they do what they do. They challenge the status quo and want their customers to think different. Probably Apple's rivals didn't start out as computer companies. At some point in the distant past, they had a why, a cause for why they got up in the morning, but they lost it, and as such, they became one of a big bunch of computer companies, all making the same thing with no differentiating factors. When you focus on what instead of why, you lose everything that makes you stand out in the crowd. So let's take it one step further. While we all strive to create a logo that will set us apart from the crowd, very few of us will ever have a logo that people would be willing to tattoo onto their body. I don't think I would even tattoo my own logo on my body, but it's just amazing to me. Harley-Davidson has a logo that people are willing to tattoo on their bodies. People who never have and probably never will own a Harley own merchandise with the logo on it because they identify with the company's guiding principles. That logo says something. It says rebel, dangerous, hot-blooded, and to many it screams American. Harley has consistently demonstrated a capability of clearly conveying its why to the masses, so much so that even the sight of a large group of bikers wearing vests with Harley patches put you in a certain frame of mind, maybe timid. Chances are good that you wouldn't find yourself backing up from, say, a band of fedora-wearing hipsters sporting Apple gear. And guess what? Harleys are not the easiest, most convenient bike to buy. You can walk into most motorcycle dealerships and walk out with a motorcycle. Harleys take 6 months to a year to acquire, but their loyal followers don't mind. They will deal with the inconvenience happily, and they will even share the gospel of Harley with the world, not because they're getting paid to, but because they want to. I mean, how many of us would kill for customers like that, right? The fascinating part of the Harley why is I had no idea what it was in words until I looked it up on their website. I had a good feel for the brand and the company. And remember, we talked about feelings being very important in purchasing because gut feelings make better decisions more often than not. So when I looked at Harley's why, their company byline is, we fulfill dreams of personal freedom. They talk about uniting people deeply, passionately, authentically. And when I read that, I thought, yeah, that sounds right. I felt that this wording very much coincided with the feelings I had about Harley's brand and the reason for existence. And this matching of words and actions is really important, because it does no good for a company to say things with marketing and fancy websites and millions of dollars in advertisements when their actions do not follow suit. When people talk about authenticity, that's how you develop authenticity. It's making your actions follow what you say. And interestingly enough, both Harley and Apple have customers who strongly identify at least a portion of their personality around the fact that they purchase products from those companies. Like we see Harley capitalizing on in this screenshot from their website, amplify your personality with this motorcycle, which is kind of funny when you think about it. It's just amazing. These companies have created such a global impact that it actually affects how people view themselves. It's amazing to me. So now that we all understand the importance of why, let's get down to the nuts and bolts of it. I'm going to teach you how to discover your own why right here and now, and how to incorporate it into your business so that you too can create a cult of followers who align with your why and will follow you to hell back, or more realistically, probably pay premium prices for your products and forgive you when you screw up, because eventually you will if you try enough new things. And I realize that this is challenging to do, on your own out there, since this is a replay. I get that. But I also know that if I tell you to go and do this on your own, you probably won't, because we're all super busy and you'll forget. So I really want you to take the time. Don't just pause this and say you're going to come back and do it again later. Pause it and really work through the process. I'm currently holding you accountable. I'm doing a little bit of coaching here, and I want you to do it now. Are you ready? All right, let's do this. So if you've got your notes that I sent via email, or I will make those available for download on my website, then I want you to pull up a screen that looks like this. And if you didn't print the notes, then draw something basically with 2 columns. There are tons of ways to go about finding your why, but one way to do it is to look back on the most prominent memories from your life. I want you to write down 10 memories and put them on the left side of that sheet of paper. So here's a few triggers to help you think of some memories. Think back to childhood and school years. What are some memories that stand out to you, that evoke a really strong emotion inside you? These can be negative or positive. No judgment here. Who are some people who have helped shape you as a person? Write down a specific memory with them. What was something you loved doing at school? Look at your career. What are some moments when you were naturally at your best? When everything went perfectly? When you loved being a part of something, even if it wasn't a commercial success? What are some things in life that you would do again for free, even if no one ever paid you? Can you think of a time when you helped someone out and it felt really good? Now, on the right-hand side, I want you to write down the feelings associated with that memory. Also, I want you to try to think about the contribution that you made in that moment and the impact it had on the world around you. So the contribution should go on the left over with the memory, and the impact on the world around you should go over on the right with the feeling. So pause it if you need to, write down 10 memories, and do try to get to 10, because that's going to be important because you'll be using all of them. Take 3 minutes or however long you need. If you've got your 10 memories, now I want you to narrow it down to the most emotion-inducing 5 or 6 memories. Don't erase the other ones. We'll be using those as well, but just underline or highlight the ones you'd like to focus on. Write down a few more details, as many as you can, about those 5 or 6 memories. And if you're noticing themes associated with these memories, underline, star, or otherwise note these themes. That's going to be very important to identify those in as far as developing your why. Do any of these memories stand out as the brightest? Hopefully 1 or 2 really pull at you, scream, I'm important to you. And I want you to highlight or underline, rewrite the 1 or 2 most impactful memories. Now we're going to be writing out our actual why statements. Your why statement should be in this format. To blank, so that blank. The first blank should be your contribution that you're going to be making to the world. And keep in mind that this is not baking. That's your what. Your contribution to the world would be the same if you're a barista at Starbucks, or a banker, or a garbage man, or a home baker. The super cool thing about your why is that if you decided to go into a different career tomorrow, you would still know what contributions you could make to the world and find a way for your new career to help you make those contributions. Does that make sense? People often say money for their why when they're trying to talk about it. Money's not a why, it's a result from why. Another thing people mention is their family or their children. And although family is important, it's not your why. Maybe you think your why is your love of baking, but you're not just building a bakery here. You're actually championing a cause. What's your cause? You could decide tomorrow to start a snow cone stand or sell lip balm. Your cause should be completely independent for your product. Your product is a result of your cause. Now, for the second blank, what impact do you want your contribution to have on the world? What difference do you want to make in life? How is your contribution going to change things for others? I'm going to share a few whys here so you can see an example. So this is going to be a very rough draft, obviously. You're going to want to unpack it, work through it, refine it later on, and that's fine. But I do want you to actually get started here. You can see my why here: to empower individuals so that they can live their best life and achieve their goals. And a friend of mine, Christy Dooley, let me share her why. She was very kind: to inspire shareable moments so that others feel joyful. You can tell either of those things could be for coaching, like I do in the top one, or for baking in the bottom, but she could also inspire shareable moments in another career. Those are both great. All right, so remember those leftover memories that you have, the other 8? Those are how you're going to use them to discover your how. And we totally don't have time to work through those right now, but I want you to work on making those into actionable statements. So those are going to be another thing that's going to be incredibly important in setting your business apart from everyone else's. That's going to be how you do business. You should be able to look at those, really work out how those are going to impact your business. And that's one of the things I work on in my course, is working on how to differentiate your how from everyone else's. Because your how you actually do the business of home baking, is as individual to you as your fingerprint. And that's one of the most fun parts of business, determining how you're going to put your fingerprint on every part of your business. It starts with why, but the follow through is in the how. So now let's talk about some real life strategies for implementing your why. First, finding your ideal client. Your ideal client in why terms is attracted to you specifically because she identifies with or shares part of your why. So let's use my example. My why is to empower individuals so that they can live their best life and achieve their goals. My ideal customer is someone looking for empowering. She has aspirations that she knows she isn't reaching, and she knows that she needs help in achieving her goals and her best life, whatever that looks like. Christy's why is inspiring shareable moments so that others feel joyful. Her ideal customer may consider celebratory moments to be one of the most important focuses of her life. She's always looking for things to celebrate. She buys baked goods at each event because she wants to make them extra special. She's a very giving person. She particularly likes the extra touches that Christy can include to make those gifts extra special and joyful. So that is an awesome way to help you identify your ideal customer. Simon Sinek talks about how your why is basically your origin story. If this were Star Wars, your why is basically the story of Luke Skywalker growing up on Tatooine. Your why explains where you came from, how you got here, why you chose the business you're in, and what problem your product solves. I want you to share this with everyone you can, any chance you can. This is how you maintain a consistent why, despite growth in size, number of products sold, amount of employees, platforms utilized. This is how you stay consistent everywhere, time and time again. Now, keep in mind, though, that we are not the hero of our business. Our customers are, right? We're not Luke Skywalker. We're actually Obi-Wan Kenobi, guiding our customers down the treacherous path to solving their problem that our product can help them with and living their best life. That being said, people love a good story, and your marketing can use your why, your origin story, as a base. Talk about those key memories that made your why, even in picture form or in words, and keeping your why in mind when you post every time, when you put a picture up or you rework your website. That's going to help you have the start of a cohesive advertising plan. Use your what, your product, as the key component that your customers have been missing to solve one problem in their lives, and sell them on that story. And above all, use emotion whenever you can. Remember, emotions really speak to our gut, not our head, because our gut is where we make the best decisions, even if we can't explain them. So consistency over time, though, is really the key here. Consistency breeds familiarity. Familiarity breeds liking, knowing, and trusting a company. And companies who act like they talk, like we talked about Harley, breed loyalty. So today I promised that I would show you how leading with why creates loyal clients who will follow you anywhere. I promised you that discovering your why would create a clarity in your business that makes marketing simpler and connecting with your customers second nature. And I promised that we would discover why the traditional sales techniques don't work long term, what companies like Apple and Harley Davidson were doing to achieve massive long-term consistent success, and that you would gain practical tips in clarifying your why for your customer and yourself. The last thing I want to share with you is how you can share your vision effectively. Let's start with what not to do. Imagine you met me in a cake store. We strike up I can't speak. Oh my gosh. We strike up a conversation and you ask me about my business. Here's what I say. I've got a really great online course. See if you can identify the parts of this, by the way, while I'm talking. I've got a really great online course. It's on an amazing platform called Teachable, which has got great graphics and is super easy to use. It's a great way for home bakers to improve their business practices. Want to enroll? Now, there's nothing particularly horrifying about this. I haven't offended you, done anything super gross. I've just shared my what, that's my online course, with a little bit of how thrown in there. But let me contrast that with this version, if I were to say this instead. I wake up every morning excited about my job. I get to help other home bakers live their best life through better business practices. It's been fun to see how many ways there are to do that. I've even got an online course that creates clarity for creative minds in a confusing world. Isn't that amazing? Want to enroll? Now, here's how I've started with my why, moved into how I do business, and ended with what. I've shared my belief, my passion, and my inspiration behind my what, which is the product, of course. That's something people can understand in their gut and get behind. Much more likely to make a purchase from someone when you understand their why. Are there other people out there doing what I'm doing? Absolutely. What makes me better than my competitors? I'm not always better than them. They're probably better than me at some things. So why should home bakers do business with me? Not all of them should. Not all of them share my passion for business excellence and my belief that mindset is as important as muffin ingredients, that goal setting will get you farther than Facebook algorithms, or that learning to master your time will always matter more than mastering the perfect website setup. Not everyone is willing to put the work in that beating the terrible odds for entrepreneurs will require. There's no magic bullet, no special phrase, no secret formula I've discovered that will give you the success that when you had none yesterday. My program doesn't do that. My program is for people looking to do those small things that over time add up to success. It's for bakers who know that consistency is what's going to lead to massive breakthroughs, and that just doing the damn work day in and day out, even when you don't feel like it or it doesn't look glamorous, is what's going to get you ahead and keep you ahead of those learning and knowing but not doing the damn work. And it's also for bakers who know that they need the accountability only available to those working closely with a mentor, because sometimes you need a kick in the butt to get going, or a shoulder to cry on when things get tough, or a listening ear to bounce ideas off of, or a friendly voice to call you out on your limiting beliefs. I worked for 7 long years doing it on my own, and I only encountered exponential growth when I started working through the exact steps I teach in my course with my business coach. And that's what's made all the difference for me between then and now. I want you to experience the same empowerment that makes you reach your goals and live your best life as I have. I want to see you turn in your home bakery into a full-time income. I want you selling out cookie classes and cookie orders. I want you fully booked every week of the year. I want you to make a difference in your community, and I want you to start down that path today. For those who share my why, I promise that my work today is better than my work last year, and that my work next year will be better than it is now. I wake up every day with a burning desire to see every home baker in Texas, every home baker in America equipped with the knowledge they need to do their best work in a way that makes their lives better. And if you believe this with me, then I hope you'll join me. I want to see you making money so that you can do the things you love. I want you attracting appreciative, happy clients who love working with you and make your job fun. I want you feeling confident in your pricing, skilled in your marketing, and fully capable of doing all those little things that so easily make you feel overwhelmed. When you encounter resistance, I want you to be able to move on, move forward, and move higher so that you learn from those awkward growing moments and move into the confident businesswoman baker I see inside of you. And when you feel yourself sliding back into your old habits and mindsets, I want you to have the skills you need to snap the hell out of it and get back on track to making your life the best damn life it can be. So today I'm opening up 5 spots in the next couple of days for us to talk on a free 30-minute discovery call to discuss if you're a good fit for my program and if my program can empower you to live your best life and meet your goals. We'll discuss where you are in your business, where you want to be, and find out what's holding you back. Again, I'm only interested in working with women who are ready to do the work that will move them towards meeting their goals and living their dreams, because I don't want to work with people who aren't willing to make the changes necessary to succeed. Don't you think you owe it to yourself to find out if you have what it takes to make your home bakery a success? What would it feel like to have the successful business of your dreams, to be meeting goals every month and crossing off things that you never thought you'd be capable of? What would that feel like to make a full-time income at this? Thank you guys so much for attending this masterclass today. As I'm sure you can tell, empowering fellow home bakers is my why. You guys are making my dreams come true, and I'm so proud of you for taking the time to invest in yourself, your business, and your future. I cannot wait to see what kind of success we're going to have together. And if you want to learn more about your why, I strongly suggest reading Simon Sinek's book, Start With Why and Find Your Why. They're both great and very easy reads. All right, touch base with me if you'd like to talk.